Hey, welcome to another video from SkinnyMedic and Mrs. SkinnyMedic. This is our weekly update we normally do on the weekends, but this weekend really flew by.
Yes, and why did it fly by?
Well, it was supposed to be lazy, rainy days, and it wasn't.
Well, and why wasn't it though?
We got a baby goat.
Yes,
It's not a fainting goat, and as we record this, we're getting ready to go buy a baby fainting goat, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to make that joker pass out all the time.
Yes, so we worked on the fence, Friday and Saturday. We had to make some adjustments to it because we had so much rain from the storms and even concreted in the ground. The posts were trying to pull out.
Yeah, I tried to cheat, and we were only running 50-foot sections at a time. So I put one pole in the ground for concrete, and I'd watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how to build fences because I'm not a fence builder, obviously. And we went to pull tight, and it pulled one of the concrete actually out of the ground, something like that. So now I went back and we did the corner post and tied it all in like you're supposed to do when you build a fence. But I really enjoyed building the fence. Like, I thought it was kind of fun. Like, it was hard work. But
He has wounds to prove.
oh, you don't want that.
No, the wounds to prove
Yes.
it. All scratched up.
You definitely need a med kit for building a fence. You need Tylenol in your med kit. You need some Band-Aids, some antibiotic ointment. You don't really need a tourniquet per se, but definitely like Tylenol, like some icy hot for your shoulders. Definitely working out.
Hot shower.
Yeah, hot shower. So, but yeah, super excited to get that pen done. It's 50 by 50, so we're gonna put 2 goats in it right now. We have a pygmy. It's a
Nigerian dwarf.
Yeah, Nigerian dwarf.
We went yesterday to get it, so that took up all day because then we spent all day out in the pen just looking at the goat.
Then we're gonna get a fainting goat, which is just for pure entertainment. Probably this fall we'll look at getting another female. We're getting all females. We're gonna get another female pygmy goat if we don't find one soon enough. But the plan is maybe by next year to get a male to come visit, and we'll have some babies run around. So that's kind of the plan.
Yes, we know some people who have a Nigerian dwarf male. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So they could, bring him over for a visit, or we could
Yes.
take a lady over there to visit.
Yes.
So.
And then you worked hard on the garden.
Yes, Gage and I got the garden planted. He was excited to help with that because he likes spicy foods, and he picked out a jalapeno plant. Moving the water back and forth. How are you feeling with me? Hi.
Mrs. SkinnyMedic planted the garden.
Gage's help. That he now says he wants to learn how to make sauces with, so that should be interesting moving forward. But I was like, sure. So he did. He helped plant it. MJ basically ran around and played, got dirty, and then has been in the goat pen.
Yeah, she's living in the goat pen now.
Yeah, she came in because she had to eat lunch and have an online Zoom, FaceTime, whatever piano lesson. So that's been what we did.
Yeah, we've been spending a lot of time outside lately, just because there's really nothing else to do. So
And the weather's nice, and our local hardware store is letting people in. They're keeping it, under 50?
Mm-hmm.
So he had to... We've been going during the week when we had to go out because there's just less crowds because there are some essential people still working that are off on the weekends. So we would typically be going during the week where we had less to worry about. What day was it? Was it Saturday you had to run in there and
Maybe.
get something?
It was
and
packed.
He said it was the first time he actually had to wait to be allowed in the store.
Yeah, Tractor Supply. There's a local Tractor Supply.
Yeah,
and went in there, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta wait in line." I'm like, "Come on." So
our Lowe's has not been limiting, so we have not been going there because it's in the town next to us because our little town doesn't have a Lowe's. So that's where we go usually if we need
we have
to
an
go
Ace
to...
Hardware, so we go to the Ace.
Yeah, so if we need something Ace doesn't have, we drive to town over to go to the Lowe's or Home Depot. The Home Depot's limiting, but Lowe's we were going to avoid because if we were going to get it, that would be where it was going to
Yeah,
be.
if that's where it's gonna be our hot spot. People go to Lowe's because you go there and there's not a parking space left to go shopping, so they're packed out. So we avoid that place.
Yes. We only have 3 in our county now. I blame that probably on the Easter holiday because after the Easter holiday we saw a spike of 2.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because people decided to go ahead and maybe get together a little. But that's That was really, to go with 1 for 2 to 3 weeks and go to 3 was not bad.
This week I saw a gentleman, we went to get some takeout food. We've been trying to do that just a little bit here and there. And he was wearing gloves, no mask, and he literally touched his door handle, touched his keys, touched his cell phone, and touched his face all in the parking lot. I couldn't, if I would have been there to him, I would have kind of nicely said something to him, but I just kind of laughed about that.
Yeah, that has surprised me because we both are in the healthcare field. I was a occupational therapy assistant prior to staying home with taking care of him and the kids.
It's a full-time job.
Yes, it's a full-time job. Full-time and a half. But you wear the gloves in the patient's room if the patient is contagious with something or you're helping them with something that you don't want on your hands. You then remove those gloves when you're done with that task and you wash your hands before you go to the next patient. So if you're wearing gloves in the grocery store and you were touching everything in the grocery store, you're not doing it right. You technically, if you're going to wear gloves, every item you touch, you then take off the gloves and put a new pair. So instead, just put some hand sanitizer in your pocket and hand sanitize your hand throughout your grocery trip.
Yeah, don't touch your phone, don't touch your keys, and stuff like that. So.
He actually called me the other day, and I literally did not answer. I hand sanitized my hands, and then I called him back. And then I put my phone back in my pocket and didn't touch it again. So that's been... I know people want to be cautious, but it's defeating the purpose. It's wasting gloves. Yeah. There's no purpose to it.
I agree. So the healthdata.org website says we've passed our peak here in South Carolina. So our governor is looking at opening things back up, which I think is absolutely the right call. I'm not a infectious disease expert, but if we've already passed our peak, we can slowly start to reopen things back up and still being smart about it. Things like New York State, they're still in the middle of the battle. Probably wouldn't open New York State back up right now. But Colorado, where Sean is, when we shooting in the civilian medical podcast that we do, he's weeks past his peak, so those places should automatically be open back up. So
yeah, well, and I think with some of us states that don't live in as close quarters as places like New York City does, it hasn't spread like they predicted here because we've all social distanced and we've all naturally been farther away. So that's good, but I think maybe still watching who starts traveling interstate would be key.
Yeah. You're seeing people start to riot, or not riot, I guess it was riot. Protest, sorry, wrong word. I think you're going to have riots if they don't open the states back up. I definitely think that's going to happen.
Yes.
If people are going to be really ticked off, you're going to see some riots. They're starting to protest, which absolutely your First Amendment right to do that. So I think people are going to be really upset as we start to see this thing die off if they don't let small businesses open back up, restaurants open back up, things like that. So
I think it's definitely been a hard balance for our leaders to balance the health concern and the economy concern. You have to look at both of those. We talked about the fact we're not crazy about them telling us to stay home. We were completely fine with voluntarily doing that because we felt like it was the right thing to do. So when they start telling people to do things, people don't like it.
Yeah.
I know in the South, for instance, there was a lot of anxiety, and I was like, this is when it happens. This is when the South is going to rise again. They were not liking this.
But even when they did the lockdown for our state, our county sheriff said, look, we're not enforcing it. The city that we live right outside of said, we're not enforcing this. We're not going to pull you over and ask for your papers, which is all I needed to know. I know 99% of the cops anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm essential, it's fine. But
are you really though?
Yes, I'm very essential. Essentially part-time. Yes. But yeah, so things are going good. We got our garden in. We're late on that, but hey, better late than never.
We didn't plan on doing one, so
right. So the pygmy goats are really good in milk, so maybe we can kind of play with that next year a little bit here and there, something to play with. So we're excited.
Excited to start transitioning back. We have started seeing family a little bit, trying to keep outside, and we haven't been hugging, although my dad did yesterday say, okay, it's been long enough. I'm getting a hug.
That's funny.
So he did get a hug, but
you won't let me hug you. That's bullcrap.
Sorry. We got a social distance.
Yes.
But yeah, we have been very cautious with our kids, which has been hard on grandparents. They, like I said, they have come over a few times, and we've stayed outside, and we've reminded grandmas no hugging, reminded our daughter no hugging, because she's a hugger. This has been hard. Mm-hmm. My daddy, I guess, was having a harder time than we thought, needed to sneak a hug. Shh, don't tell anybody. But I really do feel like with us being out of the peak, our families have all been staying home. They've been following those rules. They've literally only been going to take care of my grandmother, and you know, the outside visits to see family. So I kind of felt like, okay, you know what? It's time to start easing back into life.
Yeah,
So.
I agree. I'm ready for things to get back to normal. So business-wise, we're still good. We're able to get a lot of the trauma supplies we're finding. It's the general medical supplies we're struggling with. Obviously, gloves we're starting to struggle with. Luckily, we bought a large quantity of gloves, but we're still starting to see that, so that may be an issue now. That reminds me.
Which is why y'all don't need to wear them to the store for no reason.
Yep. So we're still working on that, working with different companies, trying to get general medical supplies in, things like that. But I appreciate all y'all support at medicalgearoutfitters.com. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, anything else?
I don't think so.
Awesome. So, thank you guys. We'll see you next week for this weekly update. I appreciate it. You never know when you'll be the first responder, wearing the right gear and the right training. The other thing is it's kind of like Homestead Medic. I think I should come up with a different ending. Like Homestead Medic. You never know when you're getting hungry.
You never know. In this case, with him and my son, they're always hungry.
Right. Thank you guys.